This is an iClone6 project. What I'm going to do is show you how to bust a chain. It's very simple. First of all, you have to start with a chain link and then multi-duplicate it until you get a circle, which is another show altogether. There's no sense in showing it here, but if I were to open up a project and put one link in here and then offset the next one so that it actually turns as these links are, then you create a circle. You multi-duplicate the first two, just bring it in here, and then you rotate it. When you multi-duplicate it, I'm going to put one in here as a box. I'll show you what I'm talking about. I'm going to hide this for right now, and then I'm going to take the box actually out. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to do a prop, and I'm going to go to template. I don't need a physics prop, so I just go in here and I need a 3D block, and I'll do a ball. Doesn't matter what the item is, you can still do it. And then you want to multi-duplicate it. This is an option here. This is still iClone6. You could do the same thing in 6, but you do multi-duplicate. Say how many you want. Now the reason it's got 11 up here is because in that chain link I had two links and I multi-duplicated it 12 times or 11 times to bring it around. Now the question is, how did I get the circle? Well, hit the letter E and it gives you this option to rotate it. If you rotate it 30 degrees like this, it's going to come back and meet. Okay, that's at 31. Come back to 30, and you got a perfect circle, string of pearls, if you will. And that's how you multi-duplicate within iClone to do a circle. Okay, that's just how it's done. It's very simple. You got to get your spacing right, of course. You can spread it out. You can bring them further apart. It's up to you. But to multi-duplicate in a circle, just grab your E tool for modification and transform and circle it around 30 degrees for a complete circle of 12. It's 11 plus the one you started with, 12 balls. Alright, I'm going to cancel. I'm going to delete it. And I'm going to show you that chain link again. That's how I did this chain link. Two links, multi-duplicated 11 times, brings it back to a complete chain link. Now, to make this work and function, there is a dummy in here. I'm going to press Control D, and in here there is a ball. Now that ball comes into play later, so I'm just going to turn that off right now. There's a dummy here, and all those links are attached to this box. The box is kinematic. If you look at it here and you bring up your physics panel, it's a box. It's kinematic. It doesn't have any effect on this chain because it doesn't really have a large collision margin, but I can move that chain anywhere I want just by doing this and moving it around. I'll press Control Z to bring that back, and it's still kinematic. It's going to stay there. Press Control D and it disappears, but the chain links still appear. But I'm going to go ahead and press Control D, keep the dummy visible, and within that there is a ball, which I already turned off, in there, and this ball is also physics and currently is set at static. Now if you look at the timeline by hitting F3, the static is here and then it's static here. Now this key is not necessary, but I put it in here to show you. It goes from here to this point as static. Now this is one of the things that iClone6 is missing, is the hover to see what the item is. If you go here, it goes to kinematic. When it hits kinematic, the collision margin on here is 9.99. Static, it won't do anything. There won't be any physics reaction because it is static. It's just sitting there. But once I go from static to kinematic, that chain will bust. So I'm going to press Control D and show you a real quick rendering of it to show you what actually happens. Hit stop, and I'm going to leave the timeline open. It's going to stay static until it gets past this point, hits this kinematic key. When it hits that key, those chain links, which are all set as, you'll see here in a second. Boom. Alright, now what it does, it spreads those chains out, those links. If I hit K as a key, you'll see they're all spread out. The further you want them out, the longer you let it run. So what I do here is press play, and you'll see it from a long distance. I'm just going to start here and press play. It's a little shorter. And then you hit your space bar when it's spread out enough. Hit K, goes back in, and you can see each one of those links is separated. Even though they're attached to the kinematic box up here that holds them in place, I can still, once I've set those out, I can change each one of those links. I'm going to close this, take each one of these links, and now I can go in here and change their properties to not frozen, which is affected by the kinematic, or the ball, the kinematic ball that causes them to explode out. I can take those, turn those to static, and they'll just sit still from this point on. And that's every one that I've got selected, so I hit static. That's as far as they'll ever go out. And here's how it looks. It gets to that point, still static, and boom, chain links are spread out. Now, they won't go any further than that because I'm just going to choose one, choose this link, and choose object related track. It'll come up, and I look at the physics. You'll notice there's a key here, static. Here it was frozen. Frozen reacts to kinematic, static does not. So no matter what I do with this, it's not going to have any more effect on it physics-wise. But that link right there, as well as the other links in the circle, are now stopped. They won't go any further, regardless of what comes around them, because they're static. If you want them to move again, say you have somebody come along and say you want to sweep those links back into a pile, well, you can change the status here again. You can go to the same link, and you can switch it back to frozen. And from this point on, it will be frozen. Therefore, if I were to put a ball, for instance, like this ball, which is kinematic, I could take this ball and move it towards that link. That link is this one right here. If I move this ball towards that link, it will scoot away because I have a collision margin on it. So I can take this ball now and just move it out. Watch. Here, it's going to move out. Hit, that's a chain changer. Now I've got a transform on here. I've got to hold this first here until it finishes its first job. So I paste it. And then when it's finished, all those links have been spread out. And then I'm going to have it kick that chain link out. So let's not select it. Let's see if we can get that one link to kick out when it should. First of all, it's all going to be affected here. They are frozen. Every one of these links is frozen. It's going to come up here. Then this kicker is going to go kinematic. Kick them out. And then it's going to move over and move only that one link. See, the one link is affected by it. Only the one link because I changed its status from static to frozen. So it starts out frozen, gets kicked, and then this one link can be swept up by something else from an external source. You can sweep them all up in a pile if you want, but the links have to be changed back to a frozen status in order to function that way. So you do it like that. It's still going to be affected by that ball because it's sitting close enough to knock it out of the way. And that's it. Cricky out.